Hi everyone, this is Holly from Hot Humble Pie. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing some awesome things using Dollar Tree funnels. And as always, I hope you enjoy the show. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you click that button. For this project, I took the funnel outside and spray painted it white, and then I'm using the center of a paper towel holder just to get a perfect circle. It wasn't big enough, so I just used that as a guide to make a bigger circle, and now I'm going to paint the top black. I'm using Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. I give it a quick blow dry, and now I'm using this template to draw some eyes, nose, and a mouth. I did it in pencil first, and then I traced everything in a black permanent marker, and now I'm filling it in with black paint and orange paint, and I'm using a little bit of Dollar Tree lipstick for the cheeks. Look how cute that is. Oh my gosh, isn't she cute? So after that, I decided to put a little bit of snow on the top of the cap there. It's supposed to be like a little hat. And then I took some gray paint. This is pewter in apple barrel paint, and I'm just tapping it here and there for dimension. I went around the edges, I went around the edge of the hat, I went around the back, and I did a little shadow at the base of the nose there just to make it look more alive, I guess, and dimensional, more 3D and less one-dimensional. And then I'm taking a pencil. You just need a pencil, that's all you need. And I'm doing the little carrot marks on the nose. Definitely have to seal this up, so I decided I wanted this to be shiny, so I used Mod Podge in gloss, and I gave it one coat, and then I gave it a quick blow dry, and now I tied some raffia on the top of the funnel there, snipped it off, glued some pine on, facing to the left. I wanted it kind of facing to the left. I actually saw something on Pinterest that inspired me to do this with the funnel. I just thought it was so cute, but to be honest with you, I think mine's cuter. So I'm using the Dollar Tree berries. I'm going to do 3 red berries on the top, using my marker just to, cover any of the foam that was showing, because when you cut those berries off, sometimes you have foam showing, and so you do have to touch it up. You can also use paint. Next, I'm using this black wire, also found at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just spinning it around the top of the hat. Now I'm going to stamp some letters spelling out the word snow onto a pre-made brown card. The card and the stamper with the ink pad is all from Temu, super cheap, and I threaded that onto the top of the wire. I'm going to spin the wire down in another curly cube to help hold that on, and then I didn't want the card to look totally brand new. I tried rolling it on a pen, you may have noticed that, to try and make it look a little softer, but I ended up deciding to tear the corners off, and we're all done. I think it's so cute. For this project, I spray painted 4 funnels in the hammered silver spray paint by Rust-Oleum, and now I'm taking the Dollar Tree wooden drawer. This comes in a drawer set, so I'm just using the outer shell of the drawer. I'm not using the drawer itself, and I am staining it with a watered down folklore antique wax mixed with a bit of black paint to stop it from being too reddish, I guess, and I'm using a baby wipe to smear it along with the paintbrush. Now I'm using apple barrel paint in the color nutmeg, and I'm just kind of smearing it all over the outside of the silver. I just didn't want it to look like a car bumper. So I thought, well, I'm going to make this is definitely going to be like a primitive type craft, so I kind of have to discolor it a little bit to make it look, to the best of my ability, older. So I'm showing you here, you could use a paper towel holder for this next part, but I'm using a Dollar Tree pool noodle, and I'm just using a regular knife that I also got from the Dollar Tree. It cuts through like butter. You don't have to buy a pool noodle special blade or anything like that. A knife will cut it just fine. And then I measured to make sure there was enough space. So basically these are spacers, and I'm using hot glue on low setting, and I'm going to glue them together. See how it lifts it up a little bit? Now for the next one, I didn't need a spacer. This is one that fit perfectly. In fact, I went by this one as the template. This is as far as it goes down, so I kind of had to match the rest of it to that size right there. So the top one needs a spacer as well. And as you can see, I cut the pool noodle a little bit shorter because it didn't need as much of, you have to do this by eye. Definitely you have to kind of cut, measure, test, and see if it works. And then when you get it where they're all evenly spaced, it looks like this. And I also left the hangers on these funnels. I took it off on the last project, but I thought on this one it looked better. Next, I'm cutting a little bit more of the pool noodle, but this time I also cut on the outer edge to open it a bit because it's a little bit too small for the wooden stake that I'm going to be using, but I'm going to start by hot gluing it down into the wooden box. These are the wood stakes I buy at Dollar General. I've heard they also sell them at Walmart, although I've never bought them there myself. I have heard they sell them there. And of course, when I buy them, I just try to make sure they're as straight as possible. And this is why I cut the pool noodle. See how it's like a little bit wider, but it still holds it up. If you squish it in there, it puts too much pressure on the pool noodle. So I went ahead and I measured the height that I needed, and I cut it with my little saw. And if you're interested in the saw, it is tagged in my products and also below in my description box. I took the same watered down antique wax mixed with black paint to stain the base of this tree. And now I'm taking the pool noodle and I'm going to wrap it around the stake. I'm also using the pointed end of the stake to push up in the pool noodle. And if you don't have this, you could also use a Dollar Tree plunger stick. That would work as well. And I'm just pushing it up there, so of course the tree has a little trunk. Next, I turned my tree upside down and I went ahead and put tons of hot glue on to hold it together. Now, I didn't paint the inside because in the past I've had trouble with stuff sticking to spray paint. I just left it plastic and roughed it up a little bit with a nail file. I didn't show that, but I felt like that was a safer approach. And once everything was glued, I filled in the bottom with a little bit of Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm taking this primitive star. I'm going to wrap it on the wire again. Look how cute that is. I love the way they bounce. And I'm going to put that on top of my tree. I'm twirling the top just to hold the star in place, and this little spring definitely didn't want to stick on the top, so I had to use some E6000 for a permanent hold, but I tacked it down with hot glue, which I did cut off using cuticle clippers at the end, and then I tucked a little bit of pine in the top, and we're all done. This was so easy. It is perfect for industrial farmhouse, primitive, or even if you just like to collect cute little unusual eccentric Christmas trees. For this next project, I spray painted my funnel gold, and then I took some foam and I laid the Dollar Tree sign on top of it. Now you can absolutely skip this part. I was just in the mood to make my MDF board look more like a plank of wood, I guess, thicker. So I went ahead and I traced my foam out. I'm going to cut the foam using my saw in the same shape exactly as the Dollar Tree sign. Next, I used some school glue, just regular school glue. I spread it all over the back of this sign, and then I also put a little bit of hot glue here and there for a permanent fix so that I could keep moving. You can skip this part if you don't have to keep moving. And I just pressed it down on top of the foam. After it was dry, this is what it looks like. So now we have to cover the edge of that so that it looks more like wood. I don't want people to know I used foam. So I'm just taking some paint sticks. I ordered these on Amazon. They're down below in my description box. And I'm using my saw to cut them out. I sanded the edges a little bit afterwards so they didn't have any splinters. And then I used hot glue on low heat. And I covered all of the edges all the way around, top and bottom and sides of this board. And then the hanging pieces that were hanging over the edges there, I just used my saw again to cut them off. Now, I didn't film it, but I did take some spackling and fill in the holes on the Dollar Tree sign and the seams where the two paint sticks met on the longer edges. Next, I'm using some black paint. Any black paint will work for this, and this is how I go about antiquing my gold. It's a really fast, easy little tip or hack or whatever you want to call it. I just take a tissue and I rub the black paint on, and look how awesome that looks. I set that aside to dry, and then I took some white acrylic paint to cover this entire board to create a nice surface for staining. Next, I'm using the antique wax. Any antique wax will work, watered down with a little bit of black paint, just to cut the red down a little bit. And I am staining this using a baby wipe. So it was a little bit more red, I guess, than I liked. So here you see me putting watered down black paint over it just to darken it up a little bit. And then on the inside of this funnel, no one's going to see it. I don't know why I did this, but I just wanted it to shine and look more like metal since the rest of it was metal. So I added a little silver pearlescent metallic paint over the top of that. And now I'm using these hooks from Walmart. I'm going to take and measure, find the center, and then apply pressure to screw it into the board. And then, of course, it's perfect for what I needed it to do. So I realized the funnel was going to kind of wiggle around too much, so I just took a screwdriver, poked 2 more holes, and then I'm using some more of the Dollar Tree black wire to wire it down and make it a little bit more secure on the board. Next, I'm taking some Mod Podge, and we're going to go ahead and seal this entire project up, everything including the funnel. I'm giving it a quick blow dry so we can move on, and then I'm going to fill it up with some different pine berries, pine cone, the antique little vintage bell there. The berries are from Dollar Tree, the pine cones from Dollar Tree. The pine is down below in my description box, and that little winter sparkly pine is from Dollar Tree. But this was still a little bit too loose, so I did end up taking a paint stick, cutting it, staining it to match, and just gluing it underneath right where the bottom of the funnel met the board, and that put enough counter pressure on to make it more secure. I'm now using my stamp set again, and I'm going to stamp Noel onto one of those cards, and I'm also going to use a Merry Christmas card right here, also from Temu, so cute. I'm going to add that to my little assembly inside. I am staining a skewer stick, adding a primitive star, again with the black wire. I'm going to wrap it around, lots of curly cubes. I'm going to wrap it around the skewer stick, curly cube at the top, put it in as well. So I also ordered some evergreen that droops, that kind that's floppy, so it hangs out of the funnel and hangs down, but it didn't arrive in time. But at the very end, you're going to have to envision that as well, because I thought that would look really pretty. And I'm using the bell like an anchor for the tag. I thought that was clever. I'm tying the twine onto the bell, and then I'm hanging the tag that way so it doesn't go anywhere. And for this tag, I'm just going to wire it onto a skewer stick and use it like a floral pick and push it down inside the pine. I'm using a staple gun to staple the back wire on, and then I put hot glue over each staple to make sure that it stays in place, and duct tape as well to make sure that this doesn't come off when we hang it up. I found these tags at Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the top of my sign, and I'm also going to take the top of the twine there that looks like, it's hanging. I didn't want to cut that off, so I thought I'll go ahead and glue that on the top to make it look like it's hanging off of the sign. You will also notice at the end that I took some of the Dollar Tree red berries on the vine and wrapped it around the primitive star as well. I didn't film that part. And then I took some of the Dollar Tree twine, wrapped it on the bottom of my sign, glued a wooden snowflake down, and we're all done. So there's the red berries. Oh my gosh, I love this. So I think it's so beautiful. I can't wait to get the evergreen so I can put it at the bottom so it drapes over the edge. Let me know what you think in the comments. For this next project, I am using a Walmart coffee can, and I'm just filing off the back paper. The sticky part's gone, but the back paper was there a little bit, and you can't see it if you file it off, so that's what I did. If you'd like to recreate this project and you don't drink coffee, you can also buy cheap paint cans at hardware stores. You know, they're empty, brand new paint cans. I am using chalk paint by Folk Art in the color Cottage White, and I gave it one coat. And now I'm sealing it with a bit of Mod Podge. I took this funnel outside, spray painted it black, but I do want to cut off the back hook there that hangs the funnels together, so I just used my saw to do that. This blade cuts through plastic as well. And I'll mention ahead of time that I did seal this entire project with a clear varnish when I was all done. After that, I filed the edge to make it nice and smooth, and of course I'm going to touch it up with some black paint so you can't see where I cut. I also decided I wanted to paint the inside of the funnel for this DIY, so I went ahead and did that with the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. Next, I drew a picture of a snowman face on the front of the can, first in pencil and then in ink. That's always my method of doing it so I can erase. And then I use the ink so it gives a nice border and makes it easier for me to paint inside that border. I am also making this for a friend, by the way. They sent me a picture of the face that they want, and so I'm kind of going by what they sent. So now I'm using some antique wax just to buff this up a little bit, give it some dimension, and make it, look just more real. I think when you add shadows and dimension, they come to life more. They look a little bit more real, and I like that look. You can skip this if you want to. I just think it looks better. And I added some shadow around the eyebrows as well. I also decided to add some shadow on the top of the nose this time instead of the snow. So this little snowman's going to be indoors. And I'm using my method of the pencil again to add the little marks of the carrot. I think pencil looks the most realistic for this part. You can use paint if you want to, but I just find pencil looks really good. I also tried wrapping the berries around the top of this hat, but I didn't like it. I ended up removing it. And now I'm taking some weather stripping. I got this from Amazon, and I am putting it around the edge. Now this fits perfectly on top of the coffee can as a lid. You do not need to do this part. It's just I have the weather stripping, and I thought it added, it makes it go a little further out on the rim, and it also creates a nice buffer so it's not noisy when you put it down. It's nice and silent, I guess, when you put the lid back on. So I went ahead and added it. Then I glued a little bit of the gingham print ribbon from Dollar Tree onto the rim. I'm adding some of the raffia and just decorating the hat now. This is another little snowman, in case you haven't guessed. I also thought this would have made a super cute scarecrow too. Oh my goodness, or a tin man. If you left the can, like if you spray painted the can and the lid silver and you did it like a tin man. So many possibilities with the funnel and the coffee can. It's so cute. So I added a snowflake. I'm frosting it up, took a permanent marker and ended up edging the bottom and the top. I did call my girlfriend to ask if I could add some pupils and eyelashes because I thought that was so cute. Oh my gosh, her kitchen is beautiful. It's going in her kitchen, she said, and it is brick. She lives in a super old farmhouse that actually has a huge fireplace that goes to the floor. One of those. Gorgeous. But anyway, we're all done. I think this came up so cute. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And here's another one I think you'll enjoy watching next.